Oh,
You know, so I came into work, and you and Ben Riley and Ron McClure were there.
Ron McClure, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was the three of you, because Dwayne and Ron were real friendly with, and so he wanted to give Ron something. Ron's great too, but yeah. So he said, Dwayne said, if you can't play with these guys, then you better think about another profession.
Oh boy. Yeah, it
So
was fun. I enjoyed that, you know.
yeah, well, I was very honored. I'll tell you one thing. I was very honored when you told me we did this record together, which was just called Bob Mover on Vanguard,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and we even got radio play and everything, but it turned out the company was using it as a tax write-off, so they tried to lose money on it.
Uh,
It broke my heart because it was a really good record.
yeah, it was.
But when you told me years later, you said, "Do you know we did that record like 5 years ago, and it's still the cassette is still in my glove compartment. I still play it and listen to it."
Oh yeah.
The fact that you listened to that record that we did, like it's really,
It was a very good record, man. Very good. It was
yeah,
great.
you
Yeah,
know,
you know.
yeah, it was such. We actually were a working band, and that was the only time I really got to record with a band that had actually been working.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we sounded like it. And Ben Riley also. Let's talk a little bit about Ben Riley. How did you meet Ben Riley? Tell me about your relationship with Ben.
How did I meet Ben? Wow. Well, I guess first time I played with Ben was with I think it was with Ron Carter.
Oh,
And it may have been even before that. Maybe it was something with Phil Woods. Maybe I think that actually with Phil Woods at the Vanguard. I think it was Phil Woods and David Williams and Ben. Yeah, and then Ron decided to put a band together, but with the two basses, with Buster and Ron, and Ron was playing piccolo bass.
Ron would play that piccolo bass. I remember that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we traveled a lot, went to Europe quite a few times, you know, and I love playing with Ben.
Yeah,
And
well, I could feel that. In fact, that's when I got you guys. You were actually Ron Carter's band.
yeah,
After you weren't traveling with Ron, you became my band at Sweet Basil.
yeah,
We did every Sunday and Monday. I did for about 2 years, almost every Sunday
Mm,
and Monday, or 1 week a month, whatever
yeah,
it would give us. And you guys became my band first with Ron McClure, and then Buster took over.
yeah.
And we either had Tom Harrell or Claudio Rodini.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Sometimes we were a quartet, but toward the end, but at the beginning, it was Tom Harrell and Claudio.
yeah.
And I noticed also that you've done a lot of stuff with Brazilian music in your subsequent career. You've recorded quite a lot with Brazilian musicians and got really. Have you made many trips down there, or? Uh,
I've been to Brazil maybe 3 or 4 times. That's all, you know. But I love the music. I really love the music, you know. And I got a chance to record a record there in Brazil with I guess the Top
Trio de
Call.
Paz?
Huh?
Are they the Trio de Paz they were called, or?
No, that's Trio de Paz I met in New York.
Oh, okay.
But these are guys who were Top Call players in Brazil, in Rio. A guitar player named Lula Gaval, and a drummer named Richie Rafael Barata.
Oh, I know Raphael.
Yeah, and the drummer, I mean, the bass player, I can't remember his name, but and the guy who played harmonica, uh,
Not
he's 90,
Mauricio.
huh?
Not Mauricio Einhorn.
Yeah, he's 93 now.
Oh man, I used to play with Mauricio. I used to go over his house all the time. when I lived in Rio. I lived in Rio for 7 months,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think I had something to do. I mean, I'm not going to take credit for it, but one of the things that might have gotten you in more in that direction of Brazil is I had come back from Brazil, and I'd lived there in '74, but I had all this influence of Brazil, and Claudio and I spoke Portuguese together, and we recorded that tune Tristeza,
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that.
and we played my tune Saudade do Brooklyn, and
Yeah.
and I think and through Claudio too, who really Claudio loved you, and he was
Oh, he was a good guy. I loved him. Yeah.
yeah, and so we would often talk about you, and in fact Claudio, sometimes we would get together before the gig and we would play along with your All Bird record
Ah, well.
and the Jamie Aebersold record, and Claudio called it rehearsing the band. We play with that, then we go over to Basel and play with the real people, you know.
Yeah.
And but I know that was, we were pretty definite, quite uh, pointed in that direction of Brazil a lot. And I know that later you got deeply into that. And Mauricio wrote that tune that Cannonball recorded called Clouds on
Ah.
on that Cannonball's Bossa Nova record.
Uh-huh.
That's really a beautiful tune. And that was Mauricio's biggest, claim to fame, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was quite a guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just spoke to I don't know if you know Jacques Moyal. Is she's from Switzerland. He's a French jazz lover, but he had a record label. And he produced a lot of records. So he called me to come down there and record with these guys. And I happened to be there anyway. I was played a festival in Rio dos Ostros, and Jacques said, well, why don't you stay an extra 2 or 3 days and make this record?
Mm-hmm.
And so, that's the first time I knew of these guys. I knew Lula Gaval, because he played with Rio de Paz. I mean, with Rosa de Paz, Rosa Pasos, you know, and it was just so much fun, man. So much fun. And
We have a lot of fun. We
yeah, yeah, yeah.
have a lot of fun with music. And is this guy still producing, or is he still around?
Jacques, yeah, yeah. Actually, I got a letter from Jacques last week, and he was in Brazil, and he recorded Mauricio
No
with a
kidding. Wow.
with a big band.
Ah.
You know, for his 93rd birthday. Yeah,
Oh, that's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So that was in Brazil. Now McCoy is also from Philly.
right.
So did you have any interaction with McCoy in Philly, or here in New
Yeah.
York?
I mean, I knew him, and I would go to hear him. Because he played around Philly. Uh, but at the time, his playing was a little more bebopish.
This is like the Jazz Tet period as opposed to the before Train.
Yeah, but this is before Train, you know, and I think he and Train had an agreement that when because and he left McCoy left Philly with the group called the Jazz Tet, Benny Golson and Art Farmer,
Right.
and they had an agreement that when that band broke up, you know, he would go to work with Train, and that's what happened. Because I think Steve Kuhn was playing piano with Train at the time.
That's where it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Steve was kind of heartbroken, but that's what Train wanted to do. So I mean, they really changed the trajectory of the music, the two of them together.
Well, Sonny Rollins had this interesting theory that saxophone players are translators of piano players. We were talking one day about that, and he was explaining that I was Jimmy Lyons, the alto player who played with
Alto
Cecil,
player, yeah.
had just passed away, and I was telling Sonny about a duet that I played with Jimmy in the repair shop one day that was really beautiful, the two of us, that I wish there was a record of that because we just melded our minds like Vulcans. And, but Sonny said, well, he never could really relate to Cecil until when he heard Jimmy Lyons. That was the bridge that got him into kind of understanding where Cecil might be coming from.
Ah, okay.
And so then Sonny said that made him feel to think that, well, in a way, Coleman Hawkins and Bird and Don Byas were all translating Tatum,
Ah, okay. Yeah.
and Lucky Thompson. And then Bird was, of course, adding Tatum. He was also translating Bud and Monk.
Right, right, right.
That, and then Sonny himself was translating without and shamelessly translating Bud and Monk to the saxophone. And then he said a lot of that with Train was he was coming from McCoy's ideas with the fourths and the pentatonic kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's why he was so attracted to McCoy. That might be the reason.
Yeah.
Um,
But I know like I said, they really changed the direction of the music a lot.
yeah, it absolutely did. I mean, all of a sudden,
Yeah, yeah, I know.
these things, and and I think I translate people like you and Albert Daly and Mulgrew and other people
Most,
like that
yeah.
onto the saxophone too, with all what I've learned that way. But
Hmm.
well, that became a part of the language. All of a sudden, people who had never thought about phrasing in fourths or these pentatonic things, it became just a real
Oh,
part of
it
the
sure
language.
did. Boy. Definitely became a part of the music. Yeah.
But now before, like we're talking about hearing McCoy in a more say a pre-trained context. You are still of that generation where I wonder if how many of these cats you kind of got to hear, maybe even know a little bit, or just to I think of people like, did you ever hear Bud in person?
Only one time, and it was 1965. I remember. I was with Dizzy, and we did a tribute to Charlie Parker at Carnegie Hall, and they had invited Bud to come and play solo.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my one time seeing Bud, and they had to come and take him away from the piano because he was just rambling. He wasn't really playing anything, just rambling, you know. And that kind of hurt me to see that, you know,
Oh,
you know.
yeah. He started out playing something and then it just went somewhere else with it, or
And no, he just started rambling just from the very beginning. 'Cause it's like he wasn't all there, you know.
yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that was it really hurt to hear that, to see that, and hear that, you know. But Bud was definitely an influence, you know.
Oh yeah, well, you can hear that.
Yeah, and I guess probably my biggest influence was I heard on a Sonny Rollins record, Sonny Rollins and Miles, I think it was, Tommy Flanagan.
Well, he was a huge influence on you, wasn't he?
Yeah, I love Tommy, and I remember they were playing "You Don't Know What Love Is," and it was
Yeah,
Sonny.
Maximo Colossus.
Yeah, yeah. Oh man, and I heard it. And I think I was in high school, or junior high school, and I heard. I said, "Who the hell is that?" You know, because his playing was just so lyrical, and his touch was beautiful, man. So I was a fan until he passed away. And I'm still a fan.
Did you ever get to do a two piano thing with? I know you did two piano concerts with Hank Jones, and you did with Mulgrew, even recorded. But I wonder, did you and Tommy ever do a two
Yeah,
piano?
we did one record.
You
It was
did.
for a Japanese label. It was called Together,
Oh, that must have been. That must
and
be.
that's one of the few times I was actually scared to death. You know, I was actually scared to death. But yeah, I think it was for Denon record label.
Uh-huh. Well,
Yeah.
Bobby had that raised eyebrow thing. When
Oh
he
yeah.
didn't, when he didn't like something, I always noticed about him, he would just one eyebrow would raise, and that meant he was bugged at something.
Uh,
I just
but
remember that.
he had a very dry sense of humor. You know, but I loved him. We did the
Give me an
100 volt.
example of his sense of humor there. I'm sorry. I was just,
I can't really explain it. you know. But at one time we were somewhere. I was playing actually uptown near his house,
uh,
playing solo, and he came in, pulled his sleeve. He had like three watches on, so I had time on my hands.
oh,
That kind of stuff.
yeah, that is,
But he was great. I loved him. I loved him, and Hank Jones as well.
yeah, Hank was a very unique character too.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't think I ever saw Hank without a tie. But that was from that generation. Hank would put on a tie to go to the store.
Yeah, Hank told me that he said, well, I always play the piano just about the first thing I do in the day, and I'm imagining in his dressing gown or something there, and I'm like, so you're still in your pajamas? He says, oh no. He said, when I sit down at the piano, I like to sit down just the way I go to work.
Ah,
He said,
yeah,
when I practice, I get dressed, I put on, and I said, he's right. That's probably what he does. I imagine him
yeah,
putting on the suit and tie and going sitting in his living room and practice.
yeah.
And that was so funny. And yeah, he was quite a human. And now other cats that you might have heard growing up, I'm just thinking. Of course, you knew Winton because I remember you guys hanging out together at Amos.
Who?
Winton Kelly was
Uh,
who was on the scene, a little older than you, but
yeah, but that wasn't. I just loved his feeling. I love Winton's feeling. He had such a. Well, he's from Jamaica, I think. So he had this very joyous kind of feeling. His little snap to his phrasing, you know. Um, but I didn't get to talk to him much,
uh,
But I remember meeting Sonny Clark.
that's who I was going to ask you about next. Yeah.
Well, Sonny Clark, the way I met Sonny Clark, uh, I just moved to New York, and I'm sitting in at the five spot, the old five spot, and somebody came and started pushing me over off the piano, and it was, so who the hell is this? That's who it was, Sonny Clark.
He came to just pushed you over. Remember who you were playing with?
No, I don't. I don't remember who I was playing with. You
So he
know,
got up on the piano bench and kind of pushed you over.
yeah, but that was the thing then. Yeah, that was the thing then.
In how so, may I ask? How was that a thing? Like,
Well, older, experienced guys would do it to young guys who just came to town. I remember somebody doing it to. I remember Lex Humphreys doing it to somebody at Birdland, a drummer.
a drummer, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah. So he tried. He did the same thing. To a young drummer.
He just sat down on the drum stool and
Yeah,
pushed.
kind of. Come on, get up, get up.
That's funny. So Sonny Clark pushed you up. Did you talk to him afterwards, or did you have any?
I didn't really talk to him. Until sometime later. I mean, I wasn't intimidated by it, but it was just a little strange to have somebody move you off the piano stool.
That would be unusual, and,
Yeah.
and I think you were never into drugs that I
No.
know of. I know you like your cognac, but
Yeah, I can't even do that now. So.
at one point we could.
Oh yeah, I did.
Our band set the record at Sweet Basil.
Of
That's
cognac.
what Blaze told me. For cognac imbibing, no one
That's
topped
right.
you, me, and Dan. We and that was funny. but um, but I think that sometimes the drug addicts didn't really have that much. They were in their own kind of space with each
Oh
other,
yeah, yeah,
and I know he had a serious habit.
yeah. Well, I didn't know too much about that because I never saw that many drug addicts in Philly. Or at least I didn't know any until I moved to New York. You know, and the first time I saw people nodding on the subway. Seems, what is he sleeping or? Then I realized what it was. You
Yeah,
know,
it's where
yeah, they was just bent over in a question mark. You
yeah,
know,
right. Bent over the question mark. Yeah,
you
that's
know,
what it,
or somebody's called the Nod Squad.
the nod squad. Yeah.
But I was fortunate that I never got into that.
No, you
But
didn't.
then I can appreciate people who did do it and got out of it. You know, which I give them all credit.
Did you
You
know
know,
Elbow Hope?
I met him a couple of times early on, yeah, I didn't know him well.
Well, when you got to New York, was there anybody like when you met Tommy and stuff? Was there, how cats get together and you practice with people who play the same instruments? And
Yeah,
uh, did you have any special buddies that you like to get together and shed with, or go out sessioning with, or did you?
I I didn't actually. I was always kind of quiet. So in terms of another piano player, I didn't really hang out that much. I remember meeting Herbie for the first time, and uh, it was a stretch for me, but I asked him about taking lessons, and
Really? Huh.
he said no, but we can get together. So that was encouraging. He didn't want to teach lessons, but we can get together and hang out and talk about music. So
That's what Sonny Rollins told me too. He,
yeah,
he said we can practice together. I said, okay, you can call it that. Call it lessons. I mean, I didn't say
yeah,
I
yeah.
called that. All right, yeah. So Herbie was younger than you too, right?
No, Herbie's older. I just saw Herbie actually in they have an International Jazz Day in Abu Dhabi. It was a couple of weeks ago, and Herbie is 85.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah, and looks good, man. He looks great.
yeah. Well, that's yeah. You guys are. So he didn't teach. I was thinking something else that I wanted to ask you about. Um, your new record. You have a now. You've made your 40th record as a leader, and you got a nice alto player. I like him. Uh, you've had a pretty regular trio for the last few years with Kiyoshi and Jonathan Blake,
Alan Blake, yeah.
and this nice alto player, um, uh, Emmanuel Wilkins.
Oh yeah, Emmanuel, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I love him.
yeah, I enjoyed your version of the Nearness of You and We See. I was listening to those things.
Ah, okay.
He's got a nice, gentle but yet intense approach to the alto, which
Yeah, yeah.
I liked. I liked that. And the record is called Beyond This Place, right?
Got his place, right?
And oh, I know. I was just gonna say, it was Moody that introduced you to Dizzy, right? You met Moody,
Yeah, all right.
and you Dizzy didn't even hear you. He just said Moody said you're cool, so you just joined the band.
Yeah, just on his recommendation. But I also think he had me because I was married at the time. had just gotten married. So I think he was of the opinion that being married, I would be more responsible.
Uh-huh. So,
Although it's not necessarily true.
well, but you have had a long marriage.
Oh yeah, it'd be
This is Joanne, the same wife.
yeah, it'd be 63 years coming up on.
That was that was something. Yeah, she's a wonderful woman. I mean, I've met her a few times.
Yeah, yeah.
And how many children?
I have two. I have a daughter. She's the first one. She's 60 now, and a son who's 57. And
Uh-huh.
I have two grandchildren. Uh, they're both the same age, both 36. And my granddaughter is she's a vibes player. She plays vibes, and she teaches
Oh,
Brooklyn Friends Academy. And
oh,
she has her own band called Black Wall Street.
what's her name?
Nicara Warren.
Cara Warren. And
Yeah.
but your other children are not musicians. I mean, the children. I know that's a grandchild.
Mm. No, no. My son, he played when he was in high school. He went to LaGuardia High School for the Arts. But yeah, I guess he wasn't hungry enough for it, you know. But he's doing very well. He's into he works at this high end men's clothing store called Laurel Piano.
Oh,
So what he does is he goes all over the world. He goes to Italy a lot, I should say, and measures people for suits. Suits,
really?
yeah, suits that cost $20,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
My gosh.
yeah. So and he loves his work. He loves it.
Wow.
And
He must eat some good meals. You thought we ate well. I wonder what he's eating.
right.
I always love to go on tour because you eat so well too.
Oh
But
yeah.
now, were you just? There's two other things I want to talk to you about. Then I'm going to let you go. But
Mhm.
one thing is, your upbringing. Were you church going family, or what was
Uh,
the?
Not so much. I mean, my mother went to church. I actually played piano in Sunday school, you know, but I wasn't really that heavily into church. You know, I would go to Sunday school in the morning, play piano. You know, occasionally I would go afternoon, but that's I wasn't heavily invested in church.
And in your adult life, I'm just curious, because, for instance, Buster is very strongly into the Nashur
Oh,
and Shul
Buddhist, yeah.
and all of that, and Herbie. Do you have any, let's say, external religious beliefs, or are you? What are your feelings about all that? I always wanted to find out because you're so spiritually centered. You've always impressed me as just being a person who, whatever your God is, I want that to be mine.
I don't know. It's weird. You know, I think one of the things that's a problem for me is that I read too much.
Uh-huh.
You know, and I read different books about different opinions about this or that. Um, and I've read a lot of books by people who are atheists, people who are devout Catholics, or you know, people who are Jewish. And I found that I don't know, I can't get with it. I mean, at this point in my life, I believe in being kind as much as I can. I don't believe in hurting anybody. You know, and that's the best thing I can say.
Yeah, just yeah. So that answers the question. No, and somewhere inside you feel there's a, or do you just not even bother to think about a supreme being or what there is? I mean, I just feel we're all blessed with some kind of talent, but like Hal Galper was saying, he has a basic agnostic approach to it. He says we do that as much as anybody, and
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, what to believe in, or why to believe in, you know. Uh, why are we here? I mean, I don't know,
Yeah, I'm not just. I like to ask people that because I feel someday somebody's going to say, "Oh, we're here because of this." Oh, and I'll go, "Yeah, that's right."
Yeah,
So far that hasn't happened, but I'm I'm an optimist.
yeah, yeah,
The last thing I wanted to talk about was actually when we were thinking about almost these places of gathering. In other words, in other words, one thing that a church kind of provides for people, as a friend of mine said once, it provides a source of gathering. It's a place where people can get together and gather. So for musicians, clubs in a way, you
Oh,
know,
that's sure, yeah, yeah.
like that. And there was especially one place that I just feel,
I know what you're talking about.
right?
Bradley's.
Absolutely. And, so I just would like you to wax a little bit on your impression and story of Bradley's and what you feel about it. Because I love Bradley and Bradley's, and, but please tell
Oh,
me.
I love Bradley's too, and he was a very unique guy, Um, and one thing I remember, I was, remember the Knickerbocker was right down the street.
Oh, yeah.
So I had played Bradley's, and then the next week I'm playing at Knickerbocker, and nobody really cared about stuff like that then,
Oh,
you know. But anyway, the piano was atrocious at the Knickerbocker. It was really bad. And Bradley came in to hear me. So he called his piano tuner to tune the piano at the Knickerbocker,
that's so Bradley.
you know.
That is so Bradley. Yeah.
Yeah, Of course he played pretty decent piano himself.
Oh, he did. And when he'd close those doors
Oh yeah.
and there'd just be musicians in the place, he would always, kind of the evening began, he'd sit down at the piano and start
Yeah.
playing something like "I Fall in Love Too Easily." Next
Yeah.
thing you know, Tommy'd be at the piano and say, "Well, I like this change in this place," and then somebody else would say, "I like this," and then everybody in the world would be playing those that tune. That was
That's
my
right.
university. That was my university. I say I got a postgraduate degree at Bradley's.
At Bradley's, yeah.
Listen to all these cats exchange harmonies on these things, and Bradley told me a story once of how he got the place, and it was funny because remember he didn't extend credit. He even had that sign at the bar that no credit, some kind of humorous sign about credit
Yeah.
and not doing this. But one night I really was going through a very unhappy couple of weeks with this love affair that wasn't going well, and she was across the ocean and all of that. He kind of knew me in that period too. And I said to Bradley, I said, "Look, man, I really need to drink tonight, and I don't have enough money for beyond one or two drinks. Do you think you could extend me credit for maybe two or three more drinks, and I would pay you? I got a gig Tuesday. I'll come back right after the gig and give you the money I owe you. It's the first thing I'll do when they pay me. I'll come back." And he says, "Well, okay." So so I was not really part of his inner crowd yet. I didn't know Bradley that well at this point, too. It really
Mm.
took something to ask. So I did, and I gave him the money, and he smiled. He said, "Oh, that was very nice. You're a responsible young man. That's good." He said, "You know how I got this place?" He started telling me. He said that he owed money to every bar in the village.
Oh really?
Yeah, yeah. He said he was like Rodney Dangerfield's line of like, "My father was the town drunk, but in New York City," and you know,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was the town drunk. Yeah, but in Greenwich Village, that was so. The first thing he got an inheritance, and he got all his money, and he said the first thing I did was I bought a bar because I realized I'm an alcoholic And I
Mm.
paid back. First thing he did was pay back everybody he owed money to. The second thing he did was he bought a bar because he figured being an alcoholic, he might as well have his own bar as opposed to owing other people. And that's how he began. And the greatest Bradley's line too. This is funny. When the movie Amadeus came out, I was on the phone with John Abercrombie, and I said to him, he was like, sort of, what are you going to do tonight? You know, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm going to go see my girlfriend at the time and I were going to go see Amadeus. And John says, oh, I saw that. I said, yeah, what was it like? And John thinks for a second. He says, oh, basically, Bradley's 4 o'clock in the morning.
Ah, yeah, but that was Bradley's was my spot. You know, that was my spot.
Yeah, it was everybody's spot. I mean, you would hear incredible conversation and incredible music,
Yeah.
duos. And Bradley had a card, for those of you who were never there. He even had these little placards, small little cue cards, like on every table, which said, you should be quiet when the music is playing. That there was a section in the back if you just wanted to eat and talk, you could do it there. But if you're going to be in range of the music, remember those cards?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And eventually they started making announcements. The bartenders would make an announcement, about
Yeah,
being quiet, And eventually, when I first played there, uh, I think I followed Bobby Timmons because Bobby Timmons used to be there a lot,
yeah.
and they had an old spinet piano, and I played
That was their
solo.
first.
Huh?
That was their first piano.
Yeah, that was his first
Al
piano.
Galper said it was an electric piano. I said I don't believe that they ever had an electric piano.
No, no, I don't think so.
Well,
No, and
in it,
this piano was a spinet, you
right,
know. And then eventually, Paul Desmond, when he passed away, willed his grand piano to
right.
Bradley's.
That was
Yeah, yeah, and it was just a great experience, man. Great experience. We're gonna. I remember one night. You remember James Williams?
of course.
So he decided to. I guess it was Hank Jones' birthday. So he decided to throw a party for Hank,
Uh,
and he invited every piano player in New York, and they all showed up.
oh wow.
And I was there, and Barry was there, and Tommy was there. It was great, man. Cedar Walton was there. It was great, man. So things like that.
I was living in Canada at that time, but I brought James Williams to New York.
Ah,
Yeah, I was playing at Boomers. I had a steady Tuesday at Boomers, and I had been up in Boston playing with James. It was my gig. James was the house trio at this place called the Rise Club
ah,
in Cambridge, and I'd done the weekend with James, and I had Albert Daly every Tuesday with me at Boomers because I had steady Tuesdays at Boomers in the city. And Albert, of course, calls me on Monday and says he can't do it. He's going on the road with Stan Getz or something. So I had stayed a day over. I said, James, do you want to make this gig with me in New York? And we'll just about pay your train fare. You want to make it? I've got a gig. And he came in that night, and that's the night that Art Blakey was always in there on Tuesday nights. He would come in, and he heard James,
ah.
and he
Heard
liked
it.
James. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
James was a sweetheart, man. My wife loved him. She loved him. My wife loved Mulgrew, James Williams, to death.
Yeah.
Because it
I
was
don't know
just
if they
nice people. Huh?
were they related? Were they cousins?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because I met Mulgrew through James. He brought
Yeah.
Mulgrew in to
Ah,
play.
I don't know if they were related. I mean, I know they were good friends. Yes, they were definitely good friends.
You also did a duo record with Mulgrew, right?
Yeah, yeah. We did a record and we did a couple of tours in Europe.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was fun, big fun, man. Yeah, and then the tours we did in Japan with 100 golden fingers. So Mulgrew did a few of those, and myself and Junior Mance and Ray Bryant. We did it was 10 concerts, 10 tours altogether. We did all of them, the three of us. You know,
wow.
it was great, man.
So
No,
that was you, Mogru, and Junior, were the three of you, or right?
huh?
You, Mogru, and Junior? Was that the Junior Mance? Or,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But no, the three who did it every year were me and Ray Bryant and
Oh,
Junior Mance. Yeah,
oh, I see. Yeah.
yeah. But it was great. You tour for 2 or 3 weeks in Japan, and no egos, no
Yeah.
ego, no egos at all. You know, Tommy was there. The first time was Tommy, Hank, John Lewis, uh, Roger Kellaway, Cedar Walton. I mean, it was uh, what's his name? I can't think of a name now. But anyway,
I've noticed that piano players tend to be less egotistical often than some other instruments. Maybe because they don't get up there at the same time.
oh, it could be. It could be.
It's like,
Yeah. But I mean, it's funny because Hank was like the acknowledged master. So whenever Hank would play, everybody would be right there checking him out. You know.
yeah, and well, they should have been.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, Kenny, it's been a wonderful time.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you very much.
It's been terrific. I'd like to thank Kenny Barron, which I did, but we'll thank him again.
Oh,
And
you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome.
thank you all for watching. We would ask you to give us a like and subscribe, become a subscriber, and it really does help us a lot. You may not realize that, but all of you that do subscribe and give us likes, that's
Mm, mm.
sort of helps us in this game. And we thank you. We thank the great master pianist, Mr. Kenny Barron, which has been wonderful to talk to you. Found out a bunch of stuff I didn't know too, because all these years we've known each other, we never really
Yeah.
sit down like this. And his latest record is called Beyond This Place, and it's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and anything coming up that people should know about? Your current itinerary. That's
Well, I'm going to California. There's Healdsburg Jazz Festival, and then a short tour of Europe after that. You know, and working on a new record. Uh, this is should be interesting. Um, there's a friend of mine who's written lyrics uh, for about 50 of my songs.
oh
So
ah
I decided to call some singers and have them and record them, these particular songs. And Beyond This Place is one of them.
oh
And
that's good.
I don't know if you know Jean Baylor. She
No,
did.
oh,
Oh, she's a great singer, man. She did a magnificent job, and Ann Hampton Calloway. You know, she did two of my songs, so I'm looking forward to that.
oh,
We finished it, so now it just has to be mastered, mixed and mastered. So
so it's all recorded. It's all done. How many different singers? Just those.
no, it was about 4 or 5. No, and Kurt Elling and another new young man named Tyrick McDowell, Cecile McLaurin Savant.
Uh,
Yeah, so I'm enjoying listening to it.
that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. So hopefully it'll do something.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well, it's been great. Thank
All
you again.
right.
And actually, I'm gonna call you. I have a couple of questions that don't regard this, that aren't concerned with this, but I just wanted to ask you, aside from that, about record companies,
Ah, okay.
because I got some stuff with Lee Konitz that's really beautiful that was never released. That came from Lee.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I got a concert that I did with Ray Brown and Walter Bishop and a French drummer in Israel, Philippe Swarat, and it's really nice. It's really a good concert, and I'm just wondering, I haven't been in touch with record companies, so maybe if I can bug you about that at
Yeah, sure.
some point, I just want to, that would help a lot.
Okay.
You know, man, thank you. Thanks
All
again.
right. No problem, man. Thank you.
God bless and take care.
All
Man.
right. Take care, man. Bye-bye.